You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, Smirnoff. I love it. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, best enjoyed with good drinks and great company. Home or away, we rally together, cry together, and always rally cry together because there's no I in fandom. Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, is perfect for easy, delicious cocktails for fans over 21. As the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff's award-winning taste has been igniting the collective spirit since 1864. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
It's a golden gain.
We're on air. I don't know why it is that you don't hear when they're counting down or have your headset on and everyone's trying to keep you alert. He's done because he promoted his podcast. It's all he cares
And
about.
his book.
It's the only reason he's here.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to lose Greg Cody. He loses stamina right about now. So.
Stamina.
Still trying to figure out who won that cliffhanger.
I got the stamina of a 20-year-old.
No, you don't.
Well, show me a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old Ottoman.
I'll out-stamina him. Stamina him.
There you go.
He's right.
Yeah.
What signifies stamina? Is that a foot race? Is that a strength thing? You know, how do we associate that?
Noah
I've
Lyles
got good stamina.
is a professional troll, correct?
Yeah. He's picking a fight. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for a social media fight and succeeding in getting one, you know? I mean, why would Noah Lyles, a gold medal winner, care what Tyreek Hill is saying? You know, it's ridiculous.
That's not even the one I was mentioning. Okay, so he goes on with Shannon Sharp and renders all his NBA opinions totally irrelevant when he tells Shannon Sharp, Jokic, never heard of him. So when he says not a world champion of the NBA's team, and I understand this, it's a silly argument. We can argue whether America's champion deserves to be champion of the world without having beaten the world. But Noah Lyles said of the NBA, they're not world champions, but he doesn't know the players. So he's just doing that to bother people. Now he tells Tyreek Hill, you really want to race? Let's go. I'm at a track near you. And what is Tyreek's answer? 50 yards. Not the thing that you're best in the world at, 50 yards. I want to change the distance because I don't want to do it the same thing that you're the world champion
The
at.
thing where I have a chance to beat you, I think.
And Josh Hart is saying on his podcast with Jalen Brunson, he was saying, I really wanted him to lose in the Olympics. Were there a lot of Americans doing that? Because the sprinter, Stugotz, is sort of the caricature cartoon of the wide receiver diva.
Right.
Whatever it is that Tyreek Hill is as a personality, Noah Lyles is that because fastest man in the world tends to imbue you with a certain arrogance and peacocking that the average person doesn't walk around their daily life with.
The world's fastest man should be able to outrun Tyreek Hill for 50 yards. He should accept that challenge. And if he doesn't, it means he's running from Tyreek Hill.
He says the man dodges smoke. That's what he says of Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill never actually does any of these races.
Well, I fear the Dolphins. You probably don't want him to.
Of course
Not now.
Yeah, don't want you to pop a muscle
Correct.
racing Noah Lyles.
Well, but
It's a
DK
non-football
Metcalf also says he's faster than Tyreek Hill, and we're never going to see them race. And Jalen Waddle says he's faster than Tyreek Hill, and we're never going to see them race.
The only way to do this is really with player tracking when they run a 9 route.
They raced at the Pro Bowl, I think, this past year, or the year before.
And who won?
I'll get back to you.
It is alleged that the Dolphins have a white cornerback who's faster than any of them. What is his name? Bronner?
Ethan Bonner.
That does sound white.
That can't possibly be true that Ethan Bonner is faster than both Tyreek Hill and Noah
Well, Hill
Lyles.
has said it. Waddle has said it. Mostert has said it. They all say he's the fastest on the team. I mean,
Is there a black Ethan?
Oh, no, man.
there has to be.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Is there a black Ethan?
Wait, let's Google it before we poll it. I feel like the internet can. And just see if you can find
a black
There's gotta be.
famous Ethan?
All right, so the race was Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb, Micah Parsons, and Trayvon Diggs.
We're showing the video audience Ethan Bonner right now. That's him.
Yeah, but that is not the people.
He is white.
Those
That
are
is a
not
white
any of
guy.
the people. So Tyreek won that race, correct?
There's an Ethan Black. I believe he's white, though.
So black is white?
There is. I found the same guy. Ethan Black. He looks like some sort of track athlete.
Ethan Black.
He's white, though.
He's white.
Okay, so you're telling me Black is white, just to be clear.
Yeah, because he's Ethan.
There's a guy with an IMDb who seems to be black whose name is Ethan Hazard.
He does seem to be black.
Huh.
But Black is white?
No, this
Black
Ethan.
is white.
Black
Yeah.
is white.
Hazard is black.
Yeah.
And the fastest guy in track is white?
Ethan Black runs track. He's white.
The fastest guy in track is black.
What?
He's white.
No.
No.
Ethan.
No.
Noah Lyles.
Black.
But this guy is better. This guy, this white black guy is better.
No, he didn't
This
say he was
black, white
better.
guy?
No, he was just saying he exists.
Yeah.
Oh, he just
Yeah,
exists.
that
last
he
name is
exists.
just
yeah,
Black,
it wasn't
yes,
ever
right.
presented through the prism of this guy's better than
Okay.
Noah Lyles. I
Right.
think it wouldn't be the first time
No
you
one
heard the
said it.
name Ethan Black,
Yeah.
who is white.
Who's on first?
Ethan Black, a wide receiver for Penn State, also. Same Ethan Black, the white guy who ran track.
Yeah, it's the same dude.
Same guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dipping.
Yeah.
Why does Tyreek Hill think that he would be faster than Noah Lyles?
Well, he's pretty fast. For
I know,
one.
I know.
At 50 yards, though, Dan.
I
It
know.
looks like Micah Parsons won this race. But Tyreek seems to have done that thing where he got off to a bad start and then he didn't try.
Yeah, I don't
That's why
think
he
there is a
lost.
world in which Micah Parsons is faster
Well, in this world, look.
than
Look at this
Tyreek
race.
Hill,
No way.
unless the race is 2.5
Oh,
yards.
look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Fastest man, Mike. Check this out. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, Mike's looking at my laptop.
I am looking at the laptop. Oh, Tyreek's not. Oh, he just let up. He let up.
Is anyone here willing to co-sign what Josh Hart said, which is, I really wanted him to lose of Noah Lyles? Anyone in here willing to co-sign that? Were any of you so put off
All
by...
NBA fans that were passionate NBA fans, like Amin gave voice to this in his shows with us, they seem to be in lockstep because of how Noah Lyles started this whole feud by diminishing the achievements of an NBA world champion. Yeah, and Noah Lyles has gone on the record and saying, I don't know who Jokic is.
Yeah.
So NBA fans were really reveling in his embarrassment.
Well, let's enjoy some preseason football here, Stugotz, because I know Caleb Williams didn't complete all of his passes. I'm not even sure he completed half of his passes, but he had a couple of the plays that got people excited because Chicago really is here after their best quarterback ever is either Jay Cutler or Sid Luckman. They are all in on the idea that they have their quarterback for the next 5 years. They've got value at quarterback. They've got someone they think can play right away, who's on a rookie deal, and therefore they've got him a lot of skill position help, and they somehow are built to win right now. The Chicago Bears are. Let's look at a couple of these plays involving Caleb Williams, Stugotz, and him moving around in the pocket and the arm strength.
Wow.
And yeah,
a flick. I love a flick. Yeah.
That's a good flick right there.
I was loving that play so much, and then I saw on Twitter that Bryce Young last year for the Panthers
Regular
did
season.
the exact
Yes.
same play, and I'm like, guess it doesn't mean that much.
It doesn't mean much of anything at all. I saw John Kitna one time go 11 for 11 in a preseason game and
kitty
thought
cat.
that team was going to make the playoffs, and they went 0-16.
They had some injuries.
They had a lot of injuries. Orlovsky ran through the back of the end zone for that team. Here's another Caleb Williams play, Stugotz. Well, he's clearly got the pocket presence there. That's something that's not up for dispute. And so he's moving around in the pocket the way you would want him to, and then he just sort
good.
of runs into the end zone.
That is stuff he was doing at USC. To see it translate to the NFL, to the professional level.
To the preseason.
Did you see,
I know,
Did you
but-
see Mahomes actually pulled off a behind the back pass in the game?
enough. I mean, seriously, we're making a big deal. It was an 8-yard gain.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do it in a
please.
real game.
Right. Do it in the Super Bowl, big spot. I
You
mean,
can do that when you're
right.
a Patrick Mahomes. You've won 3 Super Bowls. You can just do that in a nonsense game, right? You just play around. It's the preseason.
In watching some of the preseason, my main takeaway, just looking at Caleb Williams and just trying to analyze whether or not Tua got new teeth, when do they stop this thing? It is awful. Preseason football is terrible. And I used to be like an advocate for preseason football because as like a Browns fan, I really like the opportunity to evaluate my guys because this was my only access to evaluate them. They do these scrimmages, televise those. This is dumb. Are they still charging their season ticket holders full price for this stuff?
Yes.
It's a bad TV product. What is the appeal for this stuff?
That, you just said it, though. They're still charging full price. It's just
Correct.
an easy oil well that springs up
So
because
bad,
we're
dude.
suckers and we're desperate in August for anything.
Can you win an ESPY in a preseason game? Like play of the year? It would just be funny if like the play of the year happened in a preseason game.
Put it on the poll, Juju at Le Batard Show. Can you win an ESPY for something that happened in a
like
preseason
3
game?
yards. Everyone can throw a ball behind their back 3
but
yards.
we'd never seen it before though. Like I hear you,
Showboat.
but we've never seen a quarterback do that I know it's preseason. We've never seen a quarterback do that while another team is trying to kill him.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. If you're like me, you're constantly thinking about the safety of the people and things you value most. After a friend told me about a break-in in his home in which many of his most valuable possessions were stolen, I knew I needed to secure my home with the best. I've trusted Simply Safe to protect my home for 6 years now, and the level of security and customer care has been incredible. I sleep better every night knowing Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring agents are standing by to protect me and my home. They'll also send emergency help when I need it most. I want you to have the same peace of mind that I and so many listeners experience every day, which is why I partnered with Simply Safe to offer listeners 20% off a system. Just visit simplysafe.com/DLB. What I love most is that Simply Safe just keeps getting better. Protect your home this summer with 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/DLB. That's simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard.
You don't remember the idea for
I
a
was
home
probably
run
like
call?
that kind of thing. Something.
Okay, no, the home run call was that kind of swing, that kind of thing.
Stugotz.
Oh, it's a good call.
Thank you. And plus, it doesn't matter who's hitting it. Like, you're not tailoring it to a particular
Correct.
name. You know, all that jazz. You know, you don't got to do that. You just
Oh, that would be a
generic
great call.
Up,
that
up, and
kind of
away.
swing, that kind of thing.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
This space that he occupies is unusual, Stugotz, because I've told you before, he comes up through the era. Saw a great documentary I enjoyed last night. It was executive produced by Monica Lewinsky about 15 minutes of shame. Just the shaming of people in a moment, how it lacks some nuance, and what the social media generation has wrought. I didn't realize that Lewinsky was sort of ground zero for some of that stuff. He's coming up through an age where the easiest things are to be cruel, anonymously cruel, and everything out there exists to make jokes at the expense of. Largely, the internet is not a place that celebrates. The language around Patrick Mahomes, because I've told you, Stugotz, the way coverage is these days, it's blame, criticism, blame, criticism. That's who's getting paid, who's on television blaming and criticizing. So Tom Brady comes up through this time in social media and will not be allowed to be as great as Michael Jordan because he existed before this time where we had this kind of access. The way that we talk about Mahomes, the breathless way that we talk about him, is objected to at every turn because of how breathless it is, even though what we're watching doesn't really have a precedent, because I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly in my lifetime where I'd stop having the argument about whether I think Aaron Rodgers is more physically gifted than Tom Brady, and someone comes in here and I'm like, oh, yep, better than both of them. Better than both of them, even if you take away his number one wide receiver and the offense looks totally impotent. He's going to win a Super Bowl. Essentially, it's going to feel like on an offense that he's on by himself.
You might be right. He may be better than both of them, but it is funny that Brady's the only one that beat him in a Super Bowl. I mean, at an advanced age. The only guy to take Mahomes down.
But the way that we talk about him for the next few years is going to be interesting because people object to when it is you're too breathless about people. It's one of the reasons LeBron's not going to be allowed to be Michael, Stugotz. We've been 15 years breathing on him yeah, you're great, but are you as great as the greatest who've ever been great? Are you that great? And Mahomes, I think we'd all be willing to concede because of the start. No one gets to start that way. No one comes out of the box and just starts winning right away when you're still watching and you're like, is he even in his prime yet? Have we arrived at the Patrick Mahomes prime?
I mean, Brady did it. He did win. He won early.
Yeah, but Stugotz,
some people don't give Brady credit for winning that Super Bowl.
He threw one touchdown pass that entire postseason run. He's not the reason they won that first Super Bowl.
No, I understand that, but you're saying not many people do that. I'm just pointing out that Brady actually did it. Now, you could say it was more to do with the team than it was with
I'm
Tom
talking
Brady.
about the number.
Right.
I'm talking about everyone gave that one to Belichick because it was the greatest upset in the history of the Super Bowl. The Patriots beat the Rams, and nobody thought it was because of Brady.
I will say this, though, with Mahomes, he does have a chance to do something by winning 3 straight Super Bowls that no one has ever done.
Right.
Including Tom Brady. And that's going to be interesting to see what the conversation is if Patrick Mahomes is able to do that, win 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
This is what I'm asking both of you, okay? We're going to play this Tua interview for you at the end of the show today. And we've been talking for a couple of weeks. Well, that's an architectural problem. The Miami Dolphins, when they had the cheaper quarterback than Mahomes, couldn't win in that window against Mahomes. Now, their quarterback is more expensive than Mahomes. And Mahomes, I'm asking the group, have we arrived at his prime yet? Yes or no?
I would. He's tough because most quarterbacks you would say that about, and then you have the outlier of Tom Brady. And so when we see somebody all-time great, the mind already goes like, oh, well, Tom Brady did it, and he beat you in a Super Bowl when he was that age, so we just anticipate you being that way. Who's to say Mahomes takes care of his body the same way? It's difficult, but at any point in history outside of Tom Brady, this would be considered his prime.
He's 28. Has the prime shifted? Because prime used to be like 27 to 32, and now I feel like with quarterbacks it could be 32 to 37.
I can't imagine he can be much better than he was in the postseason last year, winning the Super Bowl with that receiver help.
He's definitely in his prime. And in football, when you win Super Bowls, you automatically get called great. Terry Bradshaw had a pretty ordinary career if you look at his numbers.
Won 4.
And he won 4, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, and that's why we still think of him as great, even though he wasn't that great. Look at his numbers. Mahomes, 2 in a row, and now going for 3 in a row, that's immortal stuff.
I want to stop you, though, when you say, and you just say, well, he's 28, that must be his prime. Are you arguing he's done improving?
I think he can be this good for another 5 years.
Are you arguing that he's done improving? Because the argument I was going to make about Tua and that offense is now you've been in the Andy Reid system with consistency forever. Your tight end can't hold up that way anymore. Your tight end is no longer in his prime, even though the results, the numbers suggest that he's still in his prime because he's had these 4 crazy years that put you in the Gronk classification when no one belongs in the Gronk classification.
Didn't he set a postseason record for receiving yards at that position?
I think he did.
I think Mahomes is only getting smarter, and I don't think his physical traits have worn at the age of 28 either. So I imagine, coming just hours removed from him successfully attempting a behind-the-back pass in an NFL game, which was the right play, by the way. For that to be completion, it was the only way he was going to do it. I don't think he's done improving.
A smarter player is a great way of phrasing it, Mike, because if there's a criticism of Mahomes' game, it's the turnovers. He had 14 interceptions last year, so smarter.
But that's just his offense.
Yeah, but
the offense was so much more limited.
But I expect those to go down as he gets older. I do.
2 seasons ago, as that offense was adjusting to life without Tyreek Hill, teams were daring him to go deep, and they realized that this dude is a prideful quarterback. He is not going to go underneath if we keep giving him that. He corrected it in the season, and then you could see some moments in the AFC Championship game against Cincinnati where he reverted to some of the poor traits that he had throughout that season. I do think he's getting smarter.
The physical part of it, because the feet problem is something that I would keep an eye on. I think the style of play that he plays is a little more physical than the average quarterback. He is a little more gunslinger or reckless than just about anybody in the league, with a confidence that doesn't wane.
But I want to be fair to him, too. Like, I'm saying this as someone that's wearing nipple stickers, Dan. Like, he's not taking care of his body in ways, like, he does get body shamed. Like, he's not taking care of his body yet in ways that stick out.
But this is the reason that I'm objecting to any of you putting limits on what is his prime. I expect his next 8 years to be better than his first 8 years.
I mean, he's only played 6 full seasons in the NFL. He's won 3 Super Bowls.
I expect his next 6 years to be better than his last 6 years, and the only thing that gets in the way is his body. Well, I shouldn't say the only thing.
He's not going to have a weapon like Kelsey.
The construction
forever, right?
around him also matters.
I don't think it matters, though.
It does matter having
Kelsey
the greatest tight end
Kelsey
ever.
Matters.
Andy Reid matters.
Andy Reid might matter. They lost Tyreek Hill. He's fine.
Well, but they weren't fine. Stugotz, do I need to remind you the things you were saying before last postseason? postseason? Because
there's something off in Kansas City.
Every round of the postseason, you doubted that team.
That was 2 years ago.
It was last year.
We did all say those things, but
every year.
they have won back-to-back Super Bowls during us saying all those things.
How do none of your words matter?
I don't know. I mean,
how do you not remember any of the things that you've previously said in any of the places that you've said them?
Statistically, he did have a down year last year.
He did.
Won the Super Bowl. But
I said one
I wouldn't
thing
come off of
yesterday.
last year and say I guarantee his next 6 will be better based off of last year.
I'm hour to hour, Dan. You got to keep up. I mean,
all right, Chris, get for me some of Stugotz's more famous takes because we have both of them there. We have last year's Kansas City stuff, and we have what is one of the greatest takes in the history of this show when he chastised Andy Reid for benching Alex Smith in favor of the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, who's won 3 Super Bowls, as we argue whether his next 6 years are going to be better than his last 6 years. So should we do something we've never done in show history? Should Stugotz be forbidden from talking about the Kansas City Chiefs? That you can't. There have to be some.
I'm agreeing with you in this case.
There have to be some consequences to you being so spectacularly wrong that it renders all your future Chiefs opinions invalid.
The consequences are you get to play it back in my face forever. I mean.
But you've got to remember that you've had these takes before because you're sitting here saying no one's going to beat him when you spend every playoff round last year saying he was going to be beaten. You looked at one of the cameras, you waved your sausage fingers at it, and you said, I want the smoke. I'm here to be the first to tell you that Kansas City is not to be feared this postseason. And they were holding up the trophy again. This while you sit across from this homer who thinks he's still right, saying that the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl last year even though they haven't won a playoff game in 2 years.
You just said a take that I would dispute. For you to say that you think Mahomes' next 6 or 8 years are going to be better than his first 6, I think is almost ludicrous.
Has to win 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
I'm not doing it by Super Bowls.
Well,
I'm just doing how much is he improving as a quarterback. I'm doing
bad way of doing it.
The rest of the world is doing it by Super
Aaron
Bowls.
Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl, and I was arguing that he was more physically gifted than Tom Brady. I was arguing Aaron Rodgers is the best I've ever seen play the position.
But last year he had fewer yards, fewer touchdowns, more interceptions, and a lower QBR than he's ever had. So I don't know what based on last year would say that his next 6 are going to be better.
And by the way, Aaron Rodgers is going to be viewed as a career underachiever and overrated because he's only won
all right,
one
but Super Bowls aren't the only measurement. I just want to get you on
the bottom line.
I want to get this
important.
record from you, Billy, please. I want to get this on the record. You're just officially saying, because you haven't taken a position, Mahomes passed his prime.
No, I did not say that. I'm just saying based on last year, I don't know how you could say his next 6 years would be better. And then they said, well, you're going to base it on Super Bowls. You said no, but based on the stats. We're just trying to figure out what you're basing this take on.
28 to 34, what a quarterback becomes ages 28 to 34 in the history of the league. Every quarterback who's ever played the position before they die out in their late 30s. That's what I'm basing it on, except for Tom Brady. Yes. Except for Tom Brady. Where and how quarterbacks age, this is the prime. 28 to 34 is the prime. It's not 20 to 26. Like, it's just not.
I mean, but other quarterbacks also don't have the weapons that he had to start his career, right? Like, you then the quarterback starts figuring it out, and then you build a team around him where he had the superstar team right at the beginning.
Caleb has it right now.
You can say matter-of-factly, there hasn't been another wide receiver in the history of the game like Tyreek Hill, and you can say almost matter-of-factly, maybe Gronk in his prime, he was probably a better blocker than Kelsey, but there hasn't been another weapon at tight end like Travis Kelsey. So he's had like 2 all-time unicorns at their position. I think it's safe to assume that that's not the most easy thing to replicate.
Well, I mean, just because of like how the salary cap and stuff works too, you could probably make the argument he's never going to play on a better team than he's already been on.
That's a good argument. And he's also got a great coach who's not going to be around forever, maybe another couple of years.
It's not to say that he's not going to be good. He's just going to have different pieces to work with in a coach and teammates.
It's the only hope you have as a league is to articulate what it is that Billy is saying, that he's going to get hurt somewhere along the path, and he's going to be not the obstacle to everyone in the sport the same way that Brady and the Patriots were.
And that someone challenges him, like C.J. Stroud, somebody.
C.J. Stroud's an interesting one. It's just we haven't really encountered a dynasty like this, and there are some things working against them, like with the Taylor Swift overexposure thing, but typically we get tired and they're villains by now. Kansas City hasn't become a villainous dynasty that everyone hates yet. I mean, I'm sure they have the rival.
They tried to make themselves villains at the last Super Bowl, and it just wasn't really sticking. Like, they wanted to be the bad guys, and like at media night, they were acting as though they were villains, and like they weren't really, because everybody was rooting for them, and they had probably a bigger fan base than the 49ers did, in part because of Taylor Swift. But like they're not villains yet. If they become villains because they keep winning, I don't think that's bad for football. I think it's good for football, because then you always have that one thing that you're looking at, like, are these going to be the people that take down the Chiefs? The same way everyone was rooting against the Patriots.
I'm not arguing it's going to be bad. I'm just arguing like it's usually happened by now, and people generally like this dynasty more than other ones that prevent your teams from winning.
They're likable, though.
I think dynasties are good for sports. I also think the end of dynasties are good for sports. The Premier League just started. Man City being favored for a 5th straight championship, I don't think is necessarily good. I think if Arsenal wins, it's better for that league. I think if somebody challenges and dethrones the Chiefs, that's better for that league. I just think it's a win-win for sports. You love the dynasty, the super team, and you love it when the new era starts.
The Kelsey point is not an irrelevant one, though, because it is a cheat code. It is something that they've had to extend to drives on third down that is automatic, even if it's 11 seconds left against Buffalo or 13 seconds left against Buffalo. It's always open. And if you look back at what Brady's number were without Gronk, you will see a difference than as what they were with Gronk. And basically what Mahomes had is he had Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, which is what Brady had when he had Randy Moss and the proliferation of those tight ends.
We're doing it the wrong way. What those guys got was Patrick Mahomes. That's what happened. They got Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid was a career loser, couldn't win the big game. Travis Kelce didn't win anything.
Not a career loser.
They didn't win anything until Mahomes got there.
Travis Kelce was arguably the best tight end in the league when Patrick Mahomes wasn't his quarterback, and Tyreek Hill just got named the best player in the NFL by his peers.
I know.
Not playing now for quite a while without Patrick Mahomes.
I know.
Those are unique, special talents.
But we're saying how lucky Patrick was to land in that spot, and he was. But they were also lucky to get Patrick. That's all I'm saying.
All of your opinions are invalid because of this previous take. Stugotz forever forbidden from any more Chiefs takes because this is the worst one ever given.
Go ahead, Andy Reid. I dare you to go 14-2 and allow Alex Smith to leave Arrowhead Stadium to leave Kansas City. Go ahead, I dare you. Because of Patrick Mahomes. Because you think you could turn Patrick Mahomes into something that Alex Smith is not. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. The audacity, first off, to do this to Alex Smith, who's been very good and loyal to Andy Reid and won him a lot of football games, to dangle Patrick Mahomes out there because Andy Reid thinks he's some sort of quarterback whisperer, which he is not.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they have made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Batard.
Surely every time you're watching this, you recognize that your wife is laughing that she married
Yes.
Larry David.
Yeah, I do, yeah. One of the great characters in the history of television, in my humble opinion. And to my credit, my personality...
In my humble opinion, followed by to my credit.
To my credit.
It's amazing.
My personality
it's just amazing.
does predate Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Stugotz.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to say Larry David patterned himself after
copy.
me.
All right, put it on the poll, please, Juju. Did Greg Cody copyright being an asshole long before Larry David?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Roy Wood Jr. is going to join us here momentarily. Stugotz, you should have heard Stugotz and Greg Cody conspiring during the break. Greg Cody offering up, and Stugotz is very good at this as well, just naming podcasts. So Greg Cody offered that if he were Roy Wood Jr., what he would end up doing is doing a show early on in the day and just calling it Morning Wood.
Yeah,
That's,
great idea.
that is his idea to.
Sure, he's never heard that one.
He's never heard
It's a
that
great
before.
idea.
I don't know if it's a great idea
You're
or not.
welcome.
It's an idea.
Your last name is Wood. You do a podcast in the morning called Morning Wood.
Yeah,
How
I
is
have
that
to.
not a good idea?
Okay, we'll ask him in a second. He is blowing up as he has been for years. He's been tapped to host Have I Got News for You? It's CNN's adaptation of a comedy panel show that they've done in the UK for a while. Before we get to that, though, if you want comedy, here's a close-up look at Stugotz's hot take face as he tells you before last year's postseason why it is that he did not fear the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone back off and give him a lot of room here because this is a master craft. This is a work of the highest order. He's a sculptor. Everyone out of the way.
Dan, this time of year, everyone talks about teams they don't want to see come playoff time. I want to talk about a team that I actually want to see come playoff time. I want to see the Chiefs. I want Patrick Mahomes strolling into my stadium with max confidence. I want Travis Kelce. I want Taylor Swift. I want the team that lost to Jordan Love. I want the team that lost to Aiden O'Connell. I want the team that trailed 17-0 to Jake Browning. That is the team that I would like to face in the playoffs. That's the team, indeed, that I would want to face in the playoffs because that team is not very good. I have been saying for years there is something off in Kansas City. Last year, that take didn't go so well for me. They won the Super Bowl. This year, it's going very, very well. They are 10-6. They're down. The offense is not what it used to be. The defense doesn't travel well. They're good at home, not great on the road. If I'm a playoff team, I don't want Flacco. I don't want Mike Tomlin. I don't want any of those teams. The teams that I want strolling into my stadium, Kansas City Chiefs.
Shocking. Just
I do.
Simply shocking.
And I'm being serious.
I know. We all saw that you were being serious.
I mean, something's off there.
You have said this. And you have now said it publicly.
Yeah.
Stugotz saying for 2 years that there's something off in Kansas City while they win both titles is just magical.
Eventually, I'll get it right. I mean, something's off in Kansas City.
Are you sure? Are you sure? They strolled into Buffalo. They strolled into Baltimore with that defense, the second youngest in the league, and they did fine.
They strolled into everywhere.
Yes, they did. The Democratic Convention is this week, and Roy Wood Jr., he's got shows this week in New York, Rhode Island, and Virginia. He's off to Jersey, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and more. You can get your tickets, roywoodjr.com. Let's start here because I know they talked about it some on Friday, but Nicolas Cage, this seems like a weird, unless he's going to wear prosthetic fat suit, I don't know how he's going to play John Madden, but let's get to Frank Caliendo here. 17 years before Roy hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner, Frank Caliendo did John Madden in 2006. Let's listen to that sound.
I love John Madden because he makes me feel smart. He tells you things you already know. He doesn't give you any new information, just sits there with the NFL skadoodle drawing circles on guys' body parts. John Madden will say things like, if the quarterback, if he throws the ball and the receiver, if he catches it in the end zone, that's gonna bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. That's gonna be a touchdown.
I don't understand this one, Roy. Welcome to the show, but I don't see Nicolas Cage as John Madden. Do you?
With respect to Nicolas Cage and his catalog, I don't see it either. You cannot nail that voice any better than my man Frank Caliendo, who, mind you, worked on that voice for well over a decade and a half. I'm not saying Nicolas Cage can't act. I'm not saying he can't pull a Brendan Fraser prosthetic chub suit, whatever that. I don't remember the movie. You remember the movie, Brendan Fraser?
Whale.
He was like,
The Whale, yes.
Yeah.
600 pounds.
So, yeah, we don't even need to go 600. To be Madden, what do you need? 330? He's a husky dude.
Yeah, you gotta be thicker than Nicolas Cage is, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't like it, but then, I also thought that Christian Bale wouldn't be a good Batman, and I was proven wrong, so maybe I'll just shut up. I have a loose question before we get into everything else, just off of Stugotz. Mm-hmm. Is it me, and I say this with respect, is it me, or the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most boring dynasties. Like, think about the documentary of everything we've seen. What would be the part of the documentary go, oh, I can't wait to see that part?
Right. No, you're 100% right. It is the most boring dynasty in the history of sports, in the history of dynasties.
Really?
And I'm afraid it's coming to an end because something is off this year, Roy.
Oh, no.
In Kansas City.
Here we go again.
I don't think there's anything off. I just think Kansas City, as a town, they close at 9 p.m. So you can't get into the same cocaine-fueled debauchery that you could in New York, or Plaxico Burress shoot yourself in the leg. Like, you can't get into the Miami drama. But it's like, I like to see teams dominate, but I kind of, we need a couple of arrests. Somebody got to go to jail this year so they can rally around them, right?
I mean, I think they've had some of that, right? They've had the coach's son as an assistant coach.
That's not a player. That's not a player. It's close, but you can sweep that. You can go a little bit of Tyreek Hill if you want. If you want to find a little bit of drama, but then they got him out of there. That was pre-dynasty, to be honest.
So you need arrests. Taylor Swift isn't interesting enough to you.
High profile.
The best quarterback isn't interesting. No, you need arrests.
If Kelsey cheated on Taylor Swift with a Chiefs cheerleader, I think that's enough juice to get the Chiefs back in that proper driver's seat. You got a good 12-5 squad right there rallying around that tight end.
I mean, he's right, Dan. They went into Baltimore last year. They won 17-10. Boring.
This is what you guys are doing, as if the Patriots. So we need spy scandals. We need deflated footballs.
Yes.
This is what we need. Okay.
That's what you need, man.
What about
Rashee
Rice? Rashee Rice, drag racing.
He's been arrested enough for everybody.
There you go.
Needs to be Kelsey or Mahomes, I think.
Okay,
Roy.
so now it needs to be a star that gets arrested.
Yes, the documentary. You want to see Rashee Rice? Is that who you want? You want him sitting down in the chair?
That's all we got.
All right, so Roy is not only an expert on the White House Correspondents' Dinner, he's also an expert at throwing out the first pitch. So I'm curious what your thoughts here are. The Mets had the Hawk Tua girl do the honors on the first pitch. They had the grimace thing. Are you somebody who is pro-overt pandering here to the cultural phenomenons of the moment?
No, you have to get people that people like. I just didn't know that the Mets would be the ones to get the Hawk Tua girl the way the White Sox suck. I figured Hawk Tua would.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. Yes, that would be.
Yes. With respect to White Sox fans, I don't want any drama from you. But I don't know. I'm trying to say this respectful because I don't want to get you a terms and conditions strike on all your streaming channels. I've never seen one person get more exposure from pretending to be good at oral sex, and we've never seen any. Imagine a porn star whose porn you never saw. Do you understand how amazing of a magic trick that is?
It is. It is. It's for our time.
She's getting appearance fees all over the place. They're hiring her get your money, ma'am. Get your money. But this is an amazing grift in this country that you can be famous for. Here's how I would do it, but I don't even, it's like being famous off a sex tape with no sex tape.
It is what it's like.
Now we're doing Morning Wood.
Now we are doing Morning Wood. We are doing. How do you feel about the show idea Morning Wood, Roy, where you come on in the morning?
I pitched it when I was on in Birmingham. It was rejected unequivocally across the board. I pitched it again when I did mornings in Atlanta. Same game.
We'll take it.
Wow.
As a Cubs fan, you must enjoy that the White Sox are this kind of bad and resorting to first pitches with the Hawk Tua girl.
You can't root for that type of pain. You can't. You can't root for a team to lose 20 games in a row. You want competitive losers. You want a nice, tight division where from first to last, it's like an 8-game separation. That's the kind of pain you want. Nobody wants to get called up from AAA to just lose and lose and lose and lose. It's unfortunate. It really is. I kind of want to see a little more losing, but it's still unfortunate. Now, that's the documentary you want to see, is 20 Days in Southside, and just the misery of that.
They're 30-95. They're on pace to break the all-time record of the 62 Mets, viewed as the worst team in the history of baseball. They won 42 times. The White Sox are actually on pace to be the worst ever.
I don't know if they'll break the Mets record. And oddly enough, I still think the Mets will still be seen as the worst team just because Mets. and the reputation of it all. And the Sox actually had, let's not forget, we're talking about a team that has a World Series title in this millennium. So let's be respectful. They know how to win. I hope they figure it out and get it back. But I don't know, man, because I think that when you root for a team to lose and they just keep losing and keep losing and keep losing, that's just a depression. And you don't want that in the clubhouse, right? Like, what do you do as the GM? You can't trade everybody. Clearly, it wasn't Tim Anderson's fault.
Right.
He's been vindicated.
Mm-hmm. I think he'd get fired. I mean, I don't know.
Has he got DFA'd?
Yeah, got fired.
But he got out of there. He came to the Marlins.
And he was
then,
terrible.
Then they traded everybody. You can trade everybody.
We've done it multiple times.
Is this your semi-sure bet of the week? I don't know how it's been doing, but do we have a semi-sure bet of the week this week?
Let's not bring up the past, Dan. Let's not bring up past semi-sure bets. I feel that a lot of your viewers have way too much confidence in me. But yeah, we're going to tie it in to the DNC this week. You guaranteed semi-sure bet. Here's the breakdown, Dan. Dating back 40 years, anytime a president gives a speech at the Democratic National Convention, the White Sox win a game the next day. If the speech is under 25 minutes. You follow me so far?
Yeah.
A non-incumbent president who gives a speech at the DNC, the White Sox win the next day if the speech is under 25 minutes. This week in Chicago, you got Biden on Monday, you got Obama on Tuesday, you got Clinton on Wednesday. If all three of them speak for less than 25 minutes apiece, Chicago White Sox 3-game winning streak, guaranteed semi-sure bet of the week, brought to you by DraftKings.
Yes.
Bet everything you own on my words right now.
No, don't do that. Don't. It's a semi-sure
told
bet.
you have to stop doing
Withdraw your children from college and take the tuition.
This is an entertainment segment. This is not to be taken seriously.
It's reckless.
Sure.
You can't do it that way. We love your astute political commentary. Trump has made $300,000 off the Trump-branded Bible that he holds upside down for $60 a piece on his website. He's got supporters carrying around J.D. Vance-branded sperm cups to make fun of people who can't conceive children. And he's also saying things like this.
Because when Bobby Knight from Indiana endorses you, you win. Sort of like when I endorse you, you win too. I don't know, somehow, would that be okay, North Carolina? I don't think so, right? They want me to speak all day.
Okay, Bobby Knight died 10 months ago. That was Trump speaking in Pennsylvania, not basketball country in North Carolina.
Do you ever have a favorite comedian and then you see him like later on in his career and you're like, damn, these are the same jokes that I used to love, and he hasn't written any new material at all. Like, why is he still talking about Obama? He's not the president. Like that part of it. What did he say also? I look better than Kamala. Why is she on the cover of Time magazine? What planet are we on? Can I have some policy points, please?
It is amazing, Roy. I was not expecting that they would be this unprepared for a shift that would then all of a sudden make Trump look like the doddering, out-of-touch old person. Like, it's been startling to see that the Democratic Party did something that is clearly made for recycled Republican jokes because that is not another move.
I think the biggest miss that we've all made as Americans in the midst of Trump mania over the last 8 to 12 years is that we could have all been making money off of weird merch. I could have made gold sneakers and sold them under a dummy account, a fake Cash App payment under an alias. Jizz cups, do you know, when I saw people selling, smiling with the J, my brain immediately went into, okay, that is probably 25 cents per unit cost. If you order them at a rate of 10,000 per, you can probably get that cost down to 20 cents per. Sell those at $5 a pop at a show, and you could probably get a profit margin minus ship. And I start doing the math, and I'm like, I could have retired off of really? That's what y'all would buy? There's still time. Like, I'm still thinking about some sort of, I don't know, Stop the Steal shirt or something. I'm gonna come up with something, man.
RoyWoodJr.com is where you go if you want to buy the tickets. Congratulations on the new endeavor, by the way. When does it start and what should the people know? Because you hosting a comedy panel is kind of what I was hoping would end up being you hosting The Daily Show. This seems like a decent alternative, though.
Yeah, man. The Brits have a show called Have I Got News for You. It's been running 30 years over in England, and it's news panel. It's myself, 4 guests, and we break down all of the weird stuff that happened this week. We're doing an American remake because that's what we do in America. We flip the Brit stuff. Saturday, September 14th is the premiere at 9 p.m. Every Saturday, the entire fall, I'll be on CNN Saturday night cracking jokes and being fun and silly.
I will tell the people again, if you're in New York, Rhode Island, Virginia, Jersey, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, this guy is putting out the freshest of things. RoyWoodJr.com is where you go. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the week.
Done deal. All right, y'all.
Greg Cody, you brought up something earlier today. You were talking about the pool noodle javelin challenge you were doing on the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
Yeah.
Fine.
And you were talking about the fact that the noodle has to be straight to look through it, through the eye hole. Something
Right.
else that you were doing out here in the other room while eating bacon by the shovel full, you were throwing it into your maw
Sure.
with your hands.
Love bacon.
You were saying that it was cooked properly, and Roy, you're the one around us who's actually a cook. He was alleging that bacon is not properly cooked if it is limp at all, that it has to be straight as a nail file, that it has to be cooked so fried and so crisp that it doesn't have any bend to it.
Morning Wood.
Absolutely. The best bacon is crispy bacon. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. The only nuance I would give to that is that bacon can stand straight like a nail file while also being chewy. If it's too crisp, it disintegrates. I like it to have a little bit of chew in it while also being as straight as a nail file. I like the nail file analogy because a nail file is about the length of a good piece of bacon.
I've never agreed with my dad more. Every single thing he said.
I like the risk of a shard cutting me open from the inside as I swallow it.
So you like it super
Oh
crisp.
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Crunchy. You like crunchy
I usually
bacon.
get my pick of the litter when bacon's made because people don't like it, and I'll go and I'll get the darkest, burntest, crispiest, bacon. There it is. There.
Yeah.
The opposite is inedible. I was at an unnamed breakfast restaurant just Saturday, and the bacon was so undercooked it was inedible. I had to send it back.
That happened to me on a sandwich. I spit out the sandwich. I
sent-
vowed to never order it again, and I've ordered it since many
Sent
times.
back your bacon.
I did.
It was like rubber, though, right?
It was literally uncooked. You know, it was. If I held that on the end, it would, just all rubber band. It looked like.
This is about when he starts petering out.
Yeah.
Words become hard for him.
Thank you very much.
Chris Cody, if you doubt his bacon credentials, check him out sitting on the middle of a sofa in the middle of the Tua interview.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and as you know, our show has changed a lot over the years. You guys knew me when I was 19 years old. I'm now a family man. 38 years old. Man, I've been in this industry for a long time. Grateful to be a part of this show and grateful for one of our longtime partners over in Miller Lite. So one thing that hasn't changed over the course of this 20-year run, the great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed is that it's less filling. Why don't you tell me? Right now, I'll take an opportunity to lay out for a brief moment to listen to you and tell me what your favorite thing is about the original light beer. Go ahead. Wow. A lot of you spoke at the exact same time. I actually couldn't make out any of it. Whatever it is that you said your favorite thing about Miller Lite was, don't worry. This debate was sparked in 1975, and they still haven't settled it. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.